Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily Jateff, and I am the chair of Inspiring Australia New South Wales Executive Committee. On behalf of the Inspiring Australia Executive Committee, I'd like to welcome you to today's stakeholder briefing as the grants in New South Wales open today. And I'm sure you're all excited to find out more so that you can put in your applications. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands and waters from which we are speaking to you today and across Australia, including the Darawal people, the traditional custodians of the Wollongong area, which is the new home of Inspiring New South Wales. We thank them for their continuing care of country and acknowledge the deep and enduring traditional ecological knowledge and care for country that continues to shape this land. Our big news is that we have recently completed a successful transition of host institution. I would like to thank the University of Sydney for their incredible stewardship over the years and share the committee's deep gratitude to the University of Wollongong for taking up the role, making the transition so seamless, and for making us feel welcome. And with more on that, I'm now pleased to introduce Stuart Creal, the Director of Science Space at University of Wollongong.
Thank you very much, Emily, for the introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to the very first Inspiring Australia stakeholder meeting hosted by the University of Wollongong. I would like to start by also respectfully acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet today and pay my deepest respects to elders past, present and emerging. And I extend this respect warmly to all Indigenous peoples joining us today. While the University of Wollongong proudly has a significant presence across Australia and internationally, it's truly an honour for me to be addressing you today from Darawal country. Before proceeding, I too would also like to sincerely acknowledge and express our appreciation of the tremendous contributions made by Kristen, Meredith, Karen, and the dedicated team at the University of Sydney. As the previous host organisation, their commitment and excellence have set an incredibly high standard. We at UOW feel especially fortunate that Meredith and Karen have joined our team. Their experience and insights have allowed us to seamlessly transition, ensuring there's no interruptions to Inspiring Australia's vital operations. This year is particularly significant for the university as we celebrate our 50th anniversary. In May, we're also excited to welcome our new Vice-Chancellor, Professor Max Liu, AO. Given these milestones, we're exceptionally proud and honoured to have been awarded the Inspiring Australia contract for the next 2 years. UOW maintains a substantial presence both nationally and internationally, with 2 campuses located here in Wollongong and additional campuses in Sutherland and the Sydney CBD. Our expanding Liverpool campus has grown. And internationally, we have campuses in Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Dubai. However, it is our extensive regional and Indigenous networks that we believe will particularly benefit Inspiring Australia's ongoing mission, with campuses located throughout the Southern Highlands, Shoalhaven, Batemans Bay, and Bega, alongside our Early Start facility and its wide-reaching network of regional hubs, as well as our UOW Woolloongga Indigenous Centre. We are well placed to deepen and broaden Inspiring Australia's impact in our regional communities. Uniquely, UOW is one of the only universities in Australia to operate its own dedicated hands-on science centre, Science Space, where I speak today. Along with our innovative early childhood engagement and research centre, the Early Start Discovery Space. These facilities make UOW an ideal partner and host for Inspiring Australia in New South Wales. Celebrating our 36th anniversary this year, together with our Early Start Discovery Space celebrating its 10th anniversary, we have collectively inspired over 3 million visitors, playing a pivotal role in STEM education across our region. In 2024 alone, these 2 facilities attracted close to 200,000 visitors, with over 25,000 of those being school students attending book school excursions. I warmly invite all of you to come and experience these remarkable facilities for yourself at your convenience. Finally, even though we are meeting virtually today, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to this inaugural stakeholder event hosted by UOW. I must particularly thank Karen and Meredith for their expert coordination of today's meeting and the programme. I very much look forward to personally meeting you at our future stakeholder gatherings, whether here in the Wollongong campus or at our CBD. Thank you all very much. And now I'd like to hand over to Karen to introduce our first speaker.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome, Emily, and the warm welcome that we've received since we've been at University of Wollongong. So thank you so much for that, Stuart. It has been an interesting transition, and for those of you that may have had a little bit of difficult contacting us in between, we have all of our communications all set out ready to go now. So it's been wonderful to be able to move down and to set up and have everything so well organised for us. So thank you so much, Stuart. So very excited for this stakeholder briefing today because we've got a lot to talk about. So the grants are opening for 2025, which we know is always a really exciting opportunity. So we're going to have Scott talking to us about shortly the National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Science Day that will be coming up for this year in 2025, and we're really excited to hear a lot more about that, about how we can promote that and help that program as well. We'll also be having a look at the grants and the timelines, which of course will be very exciting. And we've got Annie Lane from Budawang, Coastal Atlas of Life, talking about their 2024 program that was a really great example of that community connection and engagement. We thought people would have a lot to learn and potentially ask lots of questions about that program as well. Meredith will follow up looking at the Meet the Scientists program that we're running again in 2025 after a really successful start in 2023 and 2024. So definitely hoping to expand that program as well. And a really good opportunity for you all to ask lots of questions as well. So please feel free to continue putting in the chat where you are coming from today, and if there are any specific questions you want covered today as well. So I'm just going to track Scott down. I've seen him come through. There we go. So Scott, I'm just going to spotlight you now if you'd like to talk about the amazing Science Day that's coming up.
Thank you very much, and I apologise for being at such late. I'm deputising today for Tara, who's a member of my team, who's been a really important driver of the day, which I'll talk about in a second. But really appreciate the opportunity to have a chat to you all. So what I'll just talk briefly about, and this is a bit of a mouthful, is National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Science Day. We actually tossed up a few different naming conventions in relation to this, but that's where we ended up. So this is the first time this day is being created, and it's part of National Science Week in August. So the National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Science Day is going to be on the Tuesday of Science Week, so that'll be on Tuesday, the 12th of August. So that will be that will be the focus. And I can talk a little bit about what it's going to look like. But what will happen is it will be launched at the same time National Science Week is launched, and that'll be the week before down in Canberra, is my understanding. And our CEO and founder Corey Tutt will be down there at that event, along with a couple of Deadly Science ambassadors, and those ambassadors come from a science background, and they are Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. So that will provide that flavour at the particular launch event. So the plan is for us to send out a media release this week, just announcing the particular day. But there'll be a lot of activity in the lead up to Science Week. So our focus really is to shine a light on Indigenous scientists and STEM professionals. So we will be developing up some material in that space and highlighting the role that they've played. And that'll be, as I said, one of the focuses on that particular day during Science Week. We, as an organisation, we will heavily promote this, but we'll also, it's not Deadly Science Day. So it's very important to realise that what we're doing is we're recognising the role that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander STEM professionals have played during the last decade, the last century, and even back before that, and highlighting the fact that they were the country's first scientists and trying to reinforce that. From Deadly Science's perspective, our job is to create what we call STEM equity. So have Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students, particularly in regional and remote areas, to give them the same opportunities as their city-based counterparts and their non-Indigenous counterparts. So we will be running with that theme in the lead up to and in that particular week. So in terms of what the people on this call can do, and happy to talk through any ideas that people might have. We're going to produce a Science Week resource that will have an Indigenous flavour, and that'll be made available to everyone. So having access to that resource, and that'll be linked to the theme of Science Week. But the other things, obviously, people are more than welcome to hold particular events, to hold a fundraiser, to have a morning tea, school or work or whatever, wherever it might be at uni, just to highlight, as I said, this particular angle of Science Week as part of what we're doing. So, as I said, Clara will be providing a bit of a launch for this over the next few days. And then there'll be some activities that we will be providing some content for and that type of thing over the weeks and months ahead. I might sort of stop there. Does anyone have any questions or any comments?
Just unmute your mic if you have any questions for Scott.
Hi, Scott. Joanne here. That all sounds fantastic, and I work with a lot of Aboriginal youth and elders, and I'd love to see how we can connect, given that this is happening during National Science Week. So congratulations for you and the team having this happening, and I'd just love to see how I can connect with you all to contribute in some way.
Look, thank you. I mean, if connect with Tara, she's probably the best person to get in touch with. She would let you know what assets that we have available, what some of the promotion we're doing in this particular week. And look, to be honest, it's the first week, the first year we'll be doing this, so we'll learn a hell of a lot in terms of how to promote it, what the feedback is in that particular space. But I probably can't emphasise enough, this isn't Deadly Science Day. This is a recognition of us and other organisations who are involved in this space, and also a lot of the work that people on this call do as well. So while Tara has provided a bit of leadership in this area, and she's got a communication background, so I think she can, we are more than open to suggestions and ideas about people about how this could be promoted, and also and that obviously is in the lead up to the event, but also after the event, which is, hey, look, I've had some feedback, it could be better if we did this or we did that, and we will do our post-implementation review and make it better next year and the year after as well. So please, if you've got any ideas in the lead up to it, certainly get in touch with Tara, and even post the event, if you've got any feedback back to this group, or if you want to feedback to Tara directly on something, for example, we might have done, we're absolutely open to that.
Thank you. Lovely.
Joanne, I will pass Tara's contact details on to you, so you can follow up with that.
Thanks, Karen.
Any other questions for Scott while we've got him? Let me just have a look. Yes, just put your mic on if you've got another question. Yes, there's a few people. And of course, you know, when we pull our roundup for National Science Week, we'll be able to include all of this information as well, and share that across our social channels as well. So yeah, very excited to promote more amazing events across New South Wales. So I'll follow up with you, Scott, as well, in terms of if you're happy for your and Tara's email address to be shared in our follow-up resources that we go out. So I'll email you after the session just to ensure.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Did you want me to stay for the rest of the session, or?
You're absolutely more than welcome to. We will be talking about the grants and some of our other successful programs that have happened last year. But if you do need to head off, you are more than welcome.
I'm happy to stay and learn a bit. So yeah, I'll go on mute and I'll learn something.
Thank you so much, Scott. There we go. Yeah, really exciting to see some of those opportunities for us to connect with that. So we've got yeah, a few people quite interested in hearing more. So we'll pass that information on. So very excited. I feel like I need a little sort of party flyers to come out to announce that the 2025 Inspiring Australia New South Wales National Science Week grants have opened today. With everything that's been going on in our transition, we were a little bit worried that we'd be a little bit behind schedule, but Meredith and I are extraordinarily pleased to say we're actually a week ahead of schedule from last year. So we're very happy about that. And we've made a few minor changes on how the grants will be submitted, which we hope will be technically smooth. So we will have an alternate hard copy form just in case we do have any teething problems. So some of the key things to be aware today, 25th of March, is when we have opened the grants. The grants will close on Thursday, the 24th of April. We did that because of the extra long weekend, so we thought it was actually easier to close it before the long weekend. The grants will be announced in early May. And there are a few things that everyone needs to be aware of by submitting a grant. There are a few things that you're required to do as well. And that is make sure that your event is actually up on the National Science Week website as well. So that's really important because it gets promoted through the National Science Week marketing, and also ensures that it gets out in all of our early marketing as well. So just a little note there, and that's the Friday, the 4th of July, to have that up there. And of course, programs need to be within National Science Week, which this year is the 9th to the 17th of August. They can start a little bit early and run a little bit later, as long as the bulk of the program is within National Science Week. So very excited about lots of different opportunities that we'll have there. We really saw the last few years some really great collaborations, some really sort of grassroots community organisations, up to the big organisations as well. So it was really great to see that big variety. And we will hear from Annie Lane shortly about their program. But I wanted to start off just showing you a little bit of the webpage. So let me see if I can share my screen and pull this one up for us. So I'll just go to the top. So on the National Science Week website, we are having it under the New South Wales Science Engagement Grants, and it is the National Science Week application. We also have a guide to writing a successful grant application, creating partnerships, which I think is a really important component of what partnerships look like, and also what some of our past grants have been. So again, really useful to look at what has been funded in the past. So one, not necessarily wanting to fund exactly the same thing each year, but the kinds of things that might be applicable are a really great thing to have a look at. Our key objectives, of course, are inspire the wider community and participation in STEM, provide opportunities to acknowledge and celebrate the contributions of Australian scientists to the world and knowledge, encourage interest in science pursuits among the general public, encourage youngsters to become fascinated in the world we live in, encourage new and innovative ways to engage with audiences. So you can see there's been a big variety over the years of what we've done. So our maximum grants are $5,000, and that's quite important. So one of the things that we need to see in the budget as well is the fact that your other in-kind support, and the in-kind support could be an organisation allowing you to use their venue for free or for a discounted cost. They may have some marketing or social media that they might do for you. All of those things count as in-kind support. So we do need you to include that as well to see about the whole project costs. A few key steps there. Have a look at those previous grants, have a look at the 2025 grant guidelines, and of course, you've already attending the stakeholder briefing. If you do have collaborators or other people that you're going to be involved in, that link will then go to the video of the stakeholder meeting from today. So don't worry if there's a potential partner or collaborator that you'd like to work with. If they're not here, they'll be able to see the video of the program as well. Here's the beginning of the form. So I won't be able to go through the whole thing without actually being able to fill it out. It's very, very similar to our existing hard copy form, except it's going to be hopefully a lot easier for us to extract the information. So key project locations has changed slightly. There's a new remoteness classification. And there is a map in the guidelines that you'll be able to look at that will actually help you work out which of these locations that you are now in. Of course, your grant proposal, the amount you're looking for, your dates, the project criteria that we were looking at as well, and previous projects that you've been involved in, even if it's a previous grant from Inspiring Australia, New South Wales or the Commonwealth. It's really important that we can see that you've got the ability and skills to do a successful program. And I can't show you any more without going to the next screen. So I will stop my share at that point. And just wondering if there are any questions about the 2025 grant opening. One of the things, I'll let some things come into the chat or for you to, oh, Janelle, you've got your hand up. Yes, please. What's your question?
Hi. This is the first year that I would be applying for a grant. I'm running an event that will be online. So it's being run out of New South Wales, but potentially anyone in Australia can participate in it. Is that likely to be a problem? Does it need to be a New South Wales only event?
No, we've had online programs because the nature of them being online, we wouldn't say no one else from interstate can join it if it's an online program. So that won't necessarily be an obstacle at all, as long as your key focus is New South Wales and that's the priority. Interstate people will be able to attend if it's online.
Okay, so it's a national awards event for people involved in research. So I guess that's not a New South Wales focus.
A national award, Meredith, I might need to ask your option on that. So it does need to be a New South Wales focus.
Yeah.
Well, yes, look, it does. I guess it is, and this does come up with online events, Janelle. The organisation has to be based in New South Wales, and I guess it is about audience. But if it is a national audience, as long as you're based in New South Wales, I'm going to say that. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And obviously there are many online national events for National Science Week, and the funding is based on where it originates. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Excellent. And please feel free to reach out if you've got additional questions as you're going through the grant process as well, where Meredith and I are happy to help however we can. Excellent. Do we have any other questions in terms of sort of the grant conditions or guidelines?
Hello, hi, I'm Ruwangi from STEM Sisters. Just based on the answer given earlier, we are physically based in Victoria, but we operate nationally, and we are conducting for the National Science Week, we are conducting soapbox science events here in Melbourne and Sydney. So we are expecting to put up an application for the program. So it's still, we are eligible to apply.
For the
Yes.
Sydney events, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So if you're a Adelaide-based company doing a national program, but you want to apply just for the Sydney component or the Wollongong component, yes, that is what you're applying for from us. Obviously, we and there's a couple of things to take note that we obviously don't fund like a Sydney program if your national program has already been funded by the Commonwealth. But yeah, you could apply for an event in Sydney from Inspiring New South Wales and an event in Victoria from Inspiring Victoria, and you may be successful. Yeah, there's no one is eliminated in those circumstances.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you.
And look, while I'm here, just because I can't help myself, I thought I'll say a few things about the application process. And these are my tips. Make sure there are some scientists in the program. We do get applications for events, activities that are very, I guess, focused on science communication. So there has to be some scientists and or some science, and that has to be very explicit and clear so the committee can really clearly identify, what is the area, what is the discipline, and what is being discussed. Make it very clear who your audience is. Is it, and it can't just be the general public. It's going to be, is it a community group, and how are you going to create those audience or attract those audiences, and who are you going to partner with to do that? And like all grants, it is about, is there a need and is there a gap that this grant will fill? So it's saying, I've got a great concept and a great event. It's not being supported anywhere else. It's very clear about how I'm going to do it. And this is why I need your funding. So just they're my tips about grant writing. Just be clear and explicit about content, audience, and need.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it for me.
Yeah, definitely look at the grant guidelines and also the How to Write a Successful Grant. There's a really lovely video that was done a few years ago by our new head of National Science Week, Alice Ryder. So it is really worthwhile having a watch of that. Exactly thinking about that clarity of information and audience. And I've just seen a comment here from Jackie about how many grants there are. So it actually varies depending on the amount people are asking for. So if everyone's asking for the lower limit, we can, of course, fund more programs. If everyone's asking for the upper limit, then we can only fund the maximum amount. I think it's up to, is it 75,000, Meredith? What is it?
Yes, that's our grant from Commonwealth, which we then disperse out as grants, yes.
So yes, there's no set number of grants, but we do look at as many as we can. And very much thinking about where you are in New South Wales as well. When we're looking at that remoteness area, thinking about, are you coordinating with people in regional or remote areas? Is it an area that maybe has been underrepresented before? They're both really key things to look at as well. Excellent. Do we have any final questions? I think that might be it. And it's a perfect opportunity to now actually move over to Annie Lane from Budawang, Coastal Atlas of Environment. Atlas of Life, sorry, Annie. And looking at their program they did in 2024, it was a really great example of that community collaboration, and we saw some really amazing outcomes. So I'll pass over to you, Annie, if you'd like to talk to us and share about maybe a little bit around your sort of process of thinking about what the project was and how to put the grant in, and then how you implemented the program would be great.
Okay, thanks, Karen, and thanks very much for the invitation to talk today about what we did last year. I'll just let you know who we are. So, as Karen mentioned, Budawang Coast Atlas of Life. We're actually a citizen science or a group, citizen science network, we like to call ourselves. And we're a regionally based project, if you like. So we cover this area here from way up near Nowra down to Mystery Bay in the south of Wallaga Lake. So quite a big area. And we regularly run events, seminars and, bio blitzes and the like. But for this particular Science Week last year, we wanted to ramp it up a bit and we wanted to be able to deliver events across our region. Now, probably can't see that because I haven't shared it with you, have I? But I'll do that now. Am I able to do that, Karen? It says host disabled participant screening, but
just try that again.
Okay, great.
Is that working now? There we go.
Should be. Yeah, so that's our region. And I'm coming to you from down here. This is Walbunja country, people of the Yuin Nation. And right up and down this coast, it's Yuin Nation people. And of course, as Stuart, I think it was, Scott mentioned First Nations people were the first scientists and, first citizen scientists for that matter. So citizen science, in case you're not really aware of what that is, it's basically members of the public getting involved in science and particularly into science research. We have a project on iNaturalist where people contribute their observations to that project, and we have over 150,000 observations in there. So that provides a database, if you like, that anybody can use for their scientific research or for their general inquiry, or just to understand what species may be located in the area that they're interested in. So we set about creating these events, and we have committee members who live on different parts of the coast. So that was very helpful because we all have our own sort of local networks. So that helps us with advertising as well as getting people to come along to the events. So we ran it across the 2 weekends of Science Week. And we started off with a seminar / iNaturalist training in Nowra. So that was for a full morning. And so the seminar was a little bit about the local natural history of the place and also the area that we were planning to visit that afternoon, Bombaderi Creek Reserve. So we had, I think, about 40 people come to that seminar and training. And then in the afternoon, we went to the reserve, and that was hosted by the New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife. They manage that reserve. And there are a series of guided walks. So we engaged the local experts there, people who knew about rainforests or invertebrates or other flowering plants, fossils, and also fungi. So they were led by these local people, and the participants were able to use some of the skills they learnt in the morning to record their observations on iNaturalist. So it was kind of a training as well as an educational guided walk. The following weekend, on the Friday, we had a Gondwana fossil walk at Ulladulla. Ulladulla, in case you don't know, is quite famous for its fossils. It's quite a protected area there, so it's possible to see these wonderful examples of fossils on the rock platforms there. And one of our committee members leads guided walks quite regularly for the Fossil Museum. So that was obviously capped, the numbers there. So we only wanted up to 12 people, and that's about how many we got for that walk. It's always very popular, but it's very difficult to get people to lead the walks because there's, I think it's probably a bit of a trend that it's difficult to engage sort of hand over the baton, if you like, and get younger people to step up to run some of these events. And then Mystery Bay, that was the following Saturday night and Sunday. This is a BioBlitz. Now, a BioBlitz, so Mystery Bay right down here in the south, a BioBlitz is about recording as many species within a certain area over a designated time frame. And that's all species. So we ran it at Mystery Bay this was in partnership with Eurobodalla Landcare. So I should say our region, Budawang Coast, runs across 2 local government areas, Shoalhaven and Eurobodalla. So and we partnered with Eurobodalla Landcare on a number of occasions. They provide fantastic support, including an education trailer and other resources as well. They also set up camera traps a couple of weeks before in this reserve so that we could see what was happening at night time there, and the usual suspects there, you know, brush-tailed possums and bandicoots, you know, wallabies, but also a large feral cat, which was particularly interesting for this Mystery Bay area because it has the potential to be a cat containment community, Mystery Bay. And this particular woodland, spotted gum woodland, is also potentially could be developed for housing. So the community was very interested to know what's actually in this reserve. So that's why we selected this area. So ran a spotlight walk on the Saturday evening and then the guided walks on the Sunday, which covered, you know, invertebrates, flowering plants, marine coastal ramble, if you like, call that, mammals and birds. So we had local experts, but with the funding we received from Inspiring New South Wales, we were able to fly in some experts to help with the BioBlitz. Also, at the lunchtime, we had one of our local scientists talking about brush-tailed phascogales, which are a highly threatened species, but have been seen in this area. So Susan Ryan came along and gave a very entertaining talk at lunchtime. So that was fantastic. So overall, these events, we had about 180 people came, but it's more than about the numbers, though. It's really about what people learnt, what they took away with them, what connections they made, connections with other people, other community groups, but also a stronger connection to their place. And I think this is particularly true where we had the outside field events, so at Bombardero and Mystery Bay, and people getting to know their area a little bit more intimately, if you like, and sparking their interest to continue to explore and learn more about the places where, you know, near to where they live and the places that are important to them. So, and also there were some novel findings that came from the Mystery Bay BioBlitz, species that hadn't been recorded in that area before, for example, and also some pretty interesting things like a funnel web spider species that hadn't been known to occur in the area. So overall, it was a great success. The atmosphere at BioBlitz is really fantastic. It's so positive. People are so excited to be out there in nature, learning things, and, you know, just so interested to learn about what's around them and how to record it as well. I think that's really important. So, you know, citizen science is one of the fundamental principles is that it's really good for people, and it really is. It's a great connector with people and with the environment. But also it's good for science. And so I think in this case, it empowered the Mystery Bay community to actually make a submission to their local council saying how important this particular area is to them, why it's important, and how they would like it to be protected into the future. So I think that really served a very important science and community outcome or service there, if I could put it that way, benefit. So that's about it, I think. We had, I have to say, we found the application process and acquittal and so on of Inspiring New South Wales grants to be very straightforward and simple. And the folks that run it are fantastic and very easy to deal with and accommodating and helpful. So thank you very much.
That's good to know. That's always wonderful feedback that it was an easy process and not a difficult process. And it was just really lovely to see the images that came out of your project as well, and that reach as well geographically from sort of, the top to sort of the bottom. It was quite it's a big span of coastline.
Yeah, it is indeed. And of course the communities are all different, and people don't tend to travel too far from their own little patch. So that's why we need to take the events to the people rather than expecting them to all travel to an event, particularly when you're doing spotlighting and things like that at night.
Absolutely. Meredith?
Yeah. I just wanted to say, congratulations, Annie. I remember our initial conversation about a regional science hub, and then it just morphed into our National Science Week program. And I think, I can definitely say your application was, so clear about the program. It was laid out. Your marketing plan was very clear. And I think that's really important. You talked about all the people you were working with and the opportunities, to get the word out and really emphasize that collaboration. And, great outcome that you've got the Mystery Bay people now lobbying council. Do you think one of the other outcomes has been, an increase in the other activities you have throughout the year, which is always really, I guess, one of our hopes for Science Week?
Well, we've certainly got a number planned coming up throughout this year, and they're all in partnership with others. So the UOW Regional Botanic Gardens, a bit of a hub for us. So that's a really terrific venue to hold events, and we're running some fungi events. I think there's a bird watching one. And we want to run another similar event up at Bombaderi Reserve again, because that was so popular. And we want, when you run these events, people often saying, well, can you come to our community and run one there, or when's the next one, kind of thing. They do take a lot to organise. So I guess one of the challenges we have is actually getting people to help to organise. It's relatively simple to get people to attend the events. It's really just organising them is a bit time consuming, but it's always so rewarding, I find. It's just such a buzz, and it gets you on a high for sure.
That's great. Congratulations.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And there is a link on their website about the event, which I will share in our follow-up as well. But if anyone's got any questions for Annie while she's here, please let us know. Unmute your mic and ask. I think that's it. So thank you so much, Annie, for sharing. And I will pass you over to Meredith now, who's going to talk about the Meet the Scientist project. And I'm just putting on the right button. So I'll leave it.
Thanks, Karen. No, I was just quickly clicking through the participants. Is there anyone from Parklands here? I can't.
Sorry, Meredith. Carrie had a question. I missed it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Sorry, by the time I unmuted, it was too late. You mentioned it sounds like a wonderful program. Excellent, excellent work there. I would love to attend all of them, to be honest. A question for you about having challenges to recruit people to help run them and facilitate them. How do you recruit people to come and do that for you?
Actually, it wasn't hard to recruit people to help us in terms of running the events or leading the survey walks. We're blessed with a lot of very talented naturalists, retired scientists, but also some that just love engaging with the community in their spare time. So I think that wasn't too difficult. Thomas Massaglio, I'll have to give him a mention. He's from iNaturalist Australia, and he loves going to BioBlitzes. I mean, he's the BioBlitz guru, so it was very easy to get him to come down. So yeah, and I guess we advertise on our website, through our iNaturalist blog, through emails. So that's how we get the participants to come in. But I think we have a willing kind of network of naturalists on the South Coast. So that's fantastic.
So when you say, is it the coordination of the event, like who's booking and saying logistic, you need to get here this way? Is that what you mean is the challenge then?
Yeah, I mean, our challenge is committee members, basically.
Committee members.
And a number of people, a number of organisations are sharing this particular challenge, that getting people to come on committees does seem to be getting a bit more difficult. So the committee members have been on there for a number of years now, and, you know, understandably some want to move on and do other things. But actually getting people to put their hand up to come onto a committee is quite difficult. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent, thanks, Annie. And Carrie, I'll pass you back over to Meredith.
Okay, thanks, Karen, and thanks again, Annie. Okay, so meet a scientist. I haven't prepared any slides, but I can share my screen. Can I do that, Karen? I didn't check that.
Yes, you should be able to.
Yeah, okay, hold on. I'll just do that. Okay. So I've just got the image that is currently on our website. So Meet a Scientist is our sort of, I guess, matching program where we go to the universities and the research institutes and find individual scientists. So they're not people who are necessarily representing their institution or organisation. And we match them with one of the, I guess, the community events during National Science Week who are looking for scientists. So this is, you know, to take some of the work out of the organisers, as Annie says, especially in regional areas. Obviously, they're run by committees, but then it is hard to get scientists to regional areas. So can't solve your problem there very easily, Annie. But I guess this is a picture of what the Meet a Scientist team at Centennial Park last year at Science in the Swamp. And here's just some other images. So we set up a whole lot of, like in parklands, we set up a whole lot of fake stores, and we have lots of scientists doing hands-on activities. It's all about hands-on activities. So it's been a really successful program, and we'll be running that again this year. We always employ a student to help us run that program because it's a great opportunity for them to get involved in science communication and engagement. And we've already found a fantastic University of Wollongong student to do that. So we will be in touch with our regulars. So that's includes parklands. And I think Nicole is here. Nicole, do you want to say anything about the program from your perspective?
Yeah, so I'm from Greater Sydney Parklands. I'm filling in for, well, not filling in, but I'm the Education and Community Programs Coordinator here. And I work with Christian Eckhart, who has been delivering Science Week events for numerous years. You probably know him from probably the past 10 years, but a big legacy of ours is our Science Week events at Centennial Park, where we get about 10,000 visitors, and we set up about 30 stalls in Lock Avenue that we invite scientists to attend, and kids and families and everyone that joins get a taste of all different types of science workshops, from universities to nature play to Indigenous and First Nations programs to bush tucker, and a variety of different science-based workshops. We also run a similar program in Western Sydney, which we've run for the past 2 years, called Science in the Scrub. I always get them confused. Science in the Swamp is at Centennial Park, Science in the Scrub in Western Sydney Parklands. And we've seen a really big growth area there as well, where we get between 6,000 and 8,000 visitors to that event as well. I was just looking for some images. I can share some images from last year's marketing campaign, which I've found, which might be useful. Can you see that? Or am I sharing the wrong screen?
We can see that.
Okay, beautiful. So this is some of the marketing campaigns that went out last year. The biggest change last year is that we branded all of the programs with Greater Sydney Parklands. So rather than competing with ourselves, because they run on 2 separate weekends, we led all of our traffic to a central website and then led visitors to each of the locations depending on their interests. And it meant that we had a central location to run competitions, to talk about what was coming up at each of the events. Last year, we led with the famous dinosaur, which was really well received by the kids. And I think this year we're leading with scientists from the University of New South Wales. They've shown an interest in coming on board and bringing a lot of their scientists across. So they'll also have a village at Centennial Park. But yeah, if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them and try my best to answer them. But I think that's us in a nutshell.
That's great, Nicole. Does anyone have any other questions, I guess, about the Parklands program? And I'll just mention a bit more about Meet a Scientist. I just can't see. Do you have to just scroll through everyone? No other questions?
Do the raise your hand, then I can work out who you are and we can wait for you to unmute. I don't see.
I don't think so. No, that's great.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I'll just share. Oh, sorry, is there one? No?
Nope.
I'll just share my screen again. Sorry, I found a better picture of Parklands, the setup there. Yeah, so this is Science in the Scrub. Can everyone see that? So there's a whole lot of fake stores that the Parklands put up. So some of you may be interested in, just having a representation there at Parklands, as Nicole just talked about. But if we're particularly interested in individual scientists doing these sorts of things. So if you are organising an event where you want some scientists, unfortunately, regionally, it's pretty hard for us to get people there unless there's already a regional university. And then we find that the regional universities are probably running their own activities, but always willing to give that a try. But are you a Sydney or Sydney suburbs based and you are running a community event and you're looking for some scientists, let us know and we will help you source them. And we'll have information about that going out in the next month or so and, how explaining how that process works. So that's all from me.
Excellent. Thanks, Meredith. There we go. So just before we move on to questions, I did just want to quickly talk about another program that we're running here, which may help tie into thinking about collaborations as well. So one of the additional programs we're running for the first time in 2025 is a library science display competition in partnership with the Children's Discovery. So what we're looking at doing for this year is having a very small prize of sort of $500 that would go to them getting a Children's Discovery box or kit. But we're looking at really trying to encourage more libraries across New South Wales, because as we know, especially in regional areas, libraries are a huge community hub. And we want to try to give lots of sort of extra information and opportunities for libraries to have more Science Week events. And a lot of them are already doing amazing Science Week events, but we're not necessarily hearing about it. So we're hoping this will start a bigger conversation of collaborating with libraries, but also giving more tips and tricks and ideas of what libraries can do during National Science Week. So what we're asking people to do is to do a book display or a science display in their library, take some photos of it, maybe have additional community events. We're going to be asking people to register, so I can actually quickly show you the page for this one as well. So we've got our library themed display during National Science Week. Our registrations open on the 5th of May. And they close on the 21st of July. And everyone that registers before that time will actually get a little kit that'll have posters, information, some props from Children's Discovery to enable them to actually do a display as well. So we're hoping this will just be a really additional way that we can engage with some of those really smaller and regional and remote libraries. So if you do have great connections with your local libraries, please let them know about this. It is also a good opportunity to reach out to your local libraries and say, hey, you know, you're a venue, can we use your venue in kind to be able to help promote different Science Weeks events in our community. So libraries are a great opportunity to connect as well. Excellent. So that was my quick little update on our library competition. We're very excited that that we're doing it this year, and great to be partnering with Children's Discovery. But I know that the grants have opened today for National Science Week. So the 5th of May, that's so long away until the registration's open. So I'll be thinking about that a little bit more, and you'll probably all be getting sick of me promoting it and reminding everyone to reach out to your local libraries leading up to National Science Week, leading up to you thinking about your grants and your collaborations as well. Excellent. So I will bring Meredith back in, and this is a great opportunity now to ask questions about anything we've talked about, but specifically about the grants, but also if there's any other programs that you think the group should be aware of as well that might be coming up. So yeah, raise your hand, unmute your mic so we know that you have something to say. Oh, yes, I think Meredith may have frozen. Well, I will answer on her behalf until she comes back.
No, I'm here. Am I here now? Can you see me?
We can hear you, but you're not moving very much.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I think it's the Zoom connection, the Wi-Fi. Anyway, I can, yeah, I'll answer any questions.
Excellent. Everyone's very quiet. Maybe we've given so much information. Everyone's just terribly excited to just go off and start planning. Meredith, Emily has suggested you turn your camera on and off. That sometimes will fix the freeze.
Oh, okay.
Not that that's ever happened to me before.
What's up?
Now we're going to lose her completely.
No, no, nothing.
We can still hear you, so that's the most important.
Okay, all right. No, well, I'm happy to answer any questions. Does anyone have any questions about the schools theme for Science Week this year that has been released? Obviously, so Inspiring New South Wales does not manage the schools program, and that's the Science Teachers Association, but they have just opened their grants for schools, and that's something that you should probably let anyone in your network know.
Yeah, and we should also say that the grants that we do for Inspiring Australia New South Wales are not for schools. So they're community-based and community organisations. As Meredith said, the grants for the National Schools Program are now open, plus their booklet and their guidelines are now open. So I will share all of that with our follow-up resources as well. So if you do have schools contacting you and want information, that's where you can direct them. And they do huge number of school grants because they are generally quite small. Excellent. Meredith's putting it in the chat.
I've just popped in their link, and I think there's probably one on the National Science Week website as well. But look, some, especially in regional areas, obviously schools are the community, and we completely understand and appreciate that. But we can't give, we don't have. In our grants, we cannot give a grant to a group that has got a great idea and they want to go out to the schools and get the schools engaged. We don't work that way. There is a gap in that sort of grants to those people. So if you've got a great idea for schools, you need to go to that school first, get them engaged and tell them or ask them, work with them to apply for that grant. The $500 is the maximum they can get from the Science Teachers Association, and say that's for your activity that you're bringing to them. But yeah, just to be mindful that we can't, we don't give grants for activities to be, in schools. But you can lobby hard your local school yourself.
Oh, you are back, Meredith. I'll reshare you. I just
Okay.
removed your spotlight because it was a black screen, and then as soon as I did it, you came back.
All right, and Joanne's got a question. Could we have a reminder of whose role is what? Reece, Stuart,
Yeah.
Karen, and Meredith. Okay, well,
And that's
Karen and I are the managers of Inspiring New South Wales, and we job share. Yes. So we're both here, obviously, and we'll both be here in force for National Science Week. Karen will be running more of the comms for us for National Science Week, as she did last year. So obviously, if you've got questions about comms, go direct to Karen, but otherwise, shoot us both an email. And so Stuart Creal is the host of Inspiring New South Wales, which is now hosted at the University of Wollongong, as Kristen Anderson was, who I think Kristen's here in the meeting. She's the other Meredith Ball.
Apologies, I'm not sure why I'm coming up as Meredith, but hi everyone. Sorry.
No, it's because I forwarded my Zoom invitation.
Thank you, Meredith. Thank you.
So yeah, has hosted the University of Sydney Partnership Engagement and Outreach Team has hosted Inspiring New South Wales recently, or for the last 12 years, and Kristen is that manager. So both Kristen and Stuart are on our committee. Does that help, Joanne? But yes, Karen and I are both here.
We're two sides of the same coin.
We're two sides of the coin, and it'll be obvious once National Science Week comes around who's doing what, like who's doing grants. Karen will definitely be doing comms. I'm running Meet a Scientist and volunteers, that sort of thing. So you'll work it out. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate.
Both of us can answer because we're in on different days of the week as well. So we're both part-time. And yes, I'll be the one sending lots of emails reminding you to send me some really great images. Send me some of this. Send me the blurb.
Karen will be the one who will be, persisting, And, if you don't get a grant, please let us know about what you're doing. And if you've got a great event and you're very disappointed you didn't get a grant, just let Karen know. Like, bombard her with all your comms. Too much information is fine.
I thought you just let Karen know that you're disappointed.
Yeah. I always say over communicate. Never assume that we've picked up something. Obviously that's our job, to be on top of who's doing what. But sometimes our only source is the National Science Week website. And once an event is registered, and we're like, oh my God, how come we didn't know about this great event in Orange or something? It would have been great to promote with this other activity that we, had a grant for or whatever. So let us know. Don't, over communicate. Yeah. And it is also that thing about if you haven't, if you've got an event but you haven't got the final details confirmed, still get it up on the National Science Week website. Get the basics up there. Get the when, what, etc. And, the theme. But if you're still waiting for that one person to confirm and you don't want to put information up, don't delay. Get it up there. So, we're aware of the whole ecosystem.
Janelle, I can see your question that you tried to put something up on the National Science Week website a few years ago. They've been doing a fair bit of work at the back end of it, so that could be why that it's not going up there. At this stage, we can follow that up for you.
But we will take that up with the national team. We'll find out, Janelle.
Yeah, because it may well be that they're just not taking new events yet because they're redoing it from last year to this year. But yes, generally the sooner the better that you get things in, it really does help. And so even though we do the grant program, we will promote any program in New South Wales. So we like to, we'll break it up to community events, citizen science events, connections to country and all sorts of different things. Yep. We'll do it from regions. So we'll do lots of different promotion in the lead up to National Science Week. So we were more than happy. Some events might go in 3 or 4 of our different posts because it's a community event in the far north of New South Wales, and it's, so yeah, please feel free. We will be adding all of those events regardless if they're funded by the National Committee or the New South Wales Committee. It's all about promoting the amazing science that's happening through National Science Week.
Yep.
Excellent. There's another question. Once the event is uploaded, can you update it? Yes.
Yes. Oh, definitely, Millie.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it can be a little bit slow. We had a real bottleneck last year, and then that was just with some new people managing things, and so they just weren't ready for the amazing rush leading up to National Science Week of those events. So things did take a little bit longer, and it meant that updates were a bit delayed, but I'm pretty sure that they've sorted out that. So yeah, absolutely, you'll be able to go in and do updates as well. So that's great.
Yeah, it is that sort of thing. Like, don't try and update it every day with one little, oh, you realise you've got a typo or whatever. But yeah, they are the national office, and they have they're definitely putting more resources to the website too. And we have really emphasised the importance of those events being approved quickly, and changes and updates being approved quickly as well. But it is a human behind there, so
well, several humans, I think. Nicole, I'll talk to you just in a moment. Janelle, we are about to do, and this is actually for everyone, our next newsletter goes out on the 1st of April. So please feel free, if you've got events, like what Janelle's saying, that they're accepting entries now, we can actually add that in our newsletter. So please feel free to direct that to us. You can just reply to the email I send tomorrow with any of those information, and I'll populate that in our email, in our newsletter coming out as well. Excellent. Okay, Nicole?
I was going to ask a similar question, actually. I was just going to offer that if any of the organisations think that they would benefit from a stall or a workshop at either Science in the Scrub or Science in the Swamp, that they could reach out to us. So is it okay if I put our education email in the chat for people if they're interested?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thanks.
yes.
Jack.
No, and yeah, I think it is just worth reminding everyone, because if there are some new people here, yes, we do have a monthly newsletter, and Karen's doing a great job with socials at the moment. So if you have science events throughout the year, let Karen know. We've got, some great activities coming up. We're always looking for content for news and events for those newsletters.
And the newsletter goes out on the first Tuesday of every month. So if you can get it to me on the last week of the month, then that gives me time to put everything in. Jackie, what's your question?
It's not a question. I put 2 things in the chat.
Yep.
One of them is we're running an event for 32 students open to the whole state at Western Sydney University. Okay. It's not been publicised, but you might as well get it in on the ground floor. It's on our website. It's for year 7 and 8 students to spend 5 days working with astronauts and space and things like that. I'm not sure, people probably don't know who I am. I run One Giant Leap Australia, where the outreach education people for the Australian rover to go on the moon. We're putting plants on the moon at the end of this year, and we're part of the Plants for Space Consortium. We run 4-day, 3-night camps and a whole lot of other stuff. So we've gotten some funding. We're working with Western Sydney Uni. If you have a look, the videos are there. Everything is there. Encourage your students to apply. We purposely did it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so they're not missing a lot of school. And then the other thing is today has been announced from the Avalon Air Show. We're giving $20,000 worth of scholarships away to 4 students to go to space camp in America. So that's the other link I put in there. Please feel free to reach out. We have plenty of amazing things that we do. Please follow us on social media. And Karen, I'll get you this for your newsletter so that you can put it out there.
Yeah,
this is for everybody. We are about inclusive, diversity, all of those things. I've actually taken kids to space camp in America with growth hormone injections, diabetic insulin pumps, heaven knows what else. We're those people who take everybody. So if you want to know any more about what we do, please feel free to reach out. But I just wanted to let you know these are 2 opportunities right now, haven't even been hit out on the media yet. You're in on the ground floor, so please give your students the opportunity.
Thanks, Jackie. It's nice. Yeah, perfect timing. It's always nice to hear about things before everyone else. Excellent. So there's some nice chats going on as well. So please feel free to keep an eye on that if people are sharing information as well. Do we have anyone else that either has a question or actually has an event or something coming up that they think the group would be interested in?
I have something to say.
Go for it.
I think what I'm seeing in this meeting, and I've seen in the stakeholder briefing meetings before, the benefits that everyone here within this community finds just in chatting to each other and telling each other about their events. So I just say that I'm really enjoying that, seeing the healthy chat and seeing all the questions and hearing about people's events. So not that I would ever want to add to anyone's workload, but is this the sort of thing that you would like to have available to you more often? Like the ability to kind of get together as a group and chat?
More, yeah, because at the moment we do like a pre-science week and a post-science week. And I think the online format seems to be working very well, and Karen's very experienced at running these sorts of things, which is great.
I may have run a Zoom meeting once or twice before. Having things online does give the opportunity to have those conversations a lot easier. And, we certainly want to have our face-to-face stakeholder meetings as well. But yes, we could definitely consider whether or not we need to increase that. Excellent, thank you. So we've got a few people that are absolutely saying yes or no. I'm about to drop out because my battery's running flat, but I do have one more thing that we need to do before we finish off. So please feel free to keep putting yes or no. This is enough networking in the chat. But what we've got is a really fabulous opportunity. So you can see behind me, we've got a couple, and if I shift this way, there's another little guy down there, the Inspiring Australia characters. So these were designed, 5 or more years ago, but they're very generic. And we've been given an opportunity to maybe have some more New South Wales centric ones. So we did a little bit of a poll on social media and we came back with a few suggestions. So I've actually got a poll that I would love to get everyone to vote on. We can put up 3 suggestions, and you'll see in the poll in a moment that some of them are quite general. But some of them are quite specific. So now where's my poll gone? Excuse me. Oh, here we go. So have a look. Please feel free to vote. So it's on what a New South Wales character would be. We had someone come through on Instagram that had said it had to be some sort of invertebrate entomologist, and I thought that's a really great one for a child looking at a mini beast or an adult scientist. We had someone come through thinking about Lake Mungo and the Barorona fish traps and whether that could be a really great connection. Coming from the Australian Museum, and I actually worked on the Frog ID project, I was thinking of Dr. Jodie Rowley, a really even though it's an Australia-focused program, she's an amazing herpetologist, but it also could be a citizen scientist. So Annie, this might one be for you. So it could be a citizen scientist actually recording a frog call and not actually being Dr. Jodie Rowley. I was also thinking of the amazing emu in the sky, how that could be a great one for Indigenous astronomy. Looking at marine biologists, I'm a scuba diver. So the first one when I thought of what it could be, I thought of a blue groper. Because when I'm diving, there's always a blue groper pretty much just behind there. So I thought that could be linked to a marine biologist or the amazing gamma rangers that are working with lots of different organisations, bringing the Indigenous knowledge of our coastal regions together. Again, another general one, the paleontologist with diprotodon, all the east coast of Australia that we've had diprotodon fossils. So that could be another opportunity. and one I had never heard of, which was Kathleen Muriel Butler, the godmother of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So she was linked to sort of the engineering. I can see a harbour bridge with an amazing, female character in front there. So there were a few of the ones that were suggested through social media. And I thought, yeah, what a great list. Again, some of them a bit general and a bit more, Australia-wide or East Coast-wide, but still could be really lovely opportunities to just diversify the range of characters we do have, and some of them really specific to New South Wales and Sydney as well. So please feel free to put your votes in. I don't even know if I'm allowed to vote. I don't think I've got a button. I'll leave it open for a few, and you can vote for as many as you like. Yes, so you don't have to only vote for one.
I voted for one. Can I have my survey back?
Yeah, we can't
Yeah,
get
me
back the
too.
survey.
Oh, sorry. I
Nice
can
easy.
actually share.
I'm very happy with my one.
I can actually share this as well. I might set up another poll that we can share in the follow-up resources as well, and I can do a little bit of a comparison. So I think it's trying to tell me that everyone's participated. So is everyone that wants to click something has clicked something? Because it's telling me to share results. Let's have a look. So yeah, Indigenous archaeologist is our top. So we are lucky we get to put 3 options forward, which is really exciting.
Those would have been my top 3 too. Oh, anyway, sorry. Jody's great too. She is.
So I put one in, but I was working down the list.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily my number one pick. But I just clicked one and then it disappeared. So I think that's probably happened for everybody.
Yeah, I did try. I thought I'd click the multiple entries, but obviously I clicked one entry. So either way, it's great to get that feedback, and we're really hoping we can get a bit of a variety, and especially because all the states are having this opportunity as well. If they're all a little bit different, but they're not necessarily too specific, it does mean that we'll be able to mix and match these new characters, and it will just give us a much fresher variety. So very excited about that. Excellent. Do we have any more questions or comments, or am I handing back over to Emily?
No? Ooh, more shout outs for Groper, which is excellent. Well, if there are no further questions, and please interrupt me if there are, I would like to thank Karen and Meredith for putting together this wonderful program today, and Stuart for their continued exceptional stewardship of this program, for bringing us all together here today, and for sharing such a rich discussion. I really hope that you are all inspired to submit your application for funding this year. I personally cannot wait for August. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Any further questions, please be in contact with Karen and Meredith. And thank you all again for coming along to this briefing. So delighted to be here. Anything that anybody else would like to say to lock it off?
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks flowing through. Good work, guys.
Thank you.
See you later.